how many Jean Greys are you gonna kiss or fight or something like that?
I like how I would fight way more Jean Greys than I would kiss.
I would kiss about one Jean Grey, and then she would Scott Summers me in X-Men Last Stand.
Well, I feel like you'll
kiss her?
survive longer just fighting her than like if she kissed you, because like if
Oh,
she
yeah,
kisses
you
you, she's
totally-
just gonna kill you immediately. She's got that poison ivy kiss of death.
You know
Yeah,
what?
she'll totally kill you if you kiss her.
What did you say? Flagpole.
Take your stinking paw off me, you damn 38!
You're a wizard, Harry.
In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you.
And I care! What is the deal?
Well, do me a favor, Captain. Go fuck yourself.
Language.
Why so serious?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm vengeance.
Avengers! Assemble.
Welcome back to That's So Random, the most random podcast on the internet. I'm Braden. With me, as per usual, is Andrew. And with us today is the one that's usually with us for these X-Men rewatches, Aaron McClemens from the Pipeline Podcast. How's it going, guys? What's going on?
It's a me, the Dark Phoenix.
Whoa!
No.
It's me, Apocalypse.
Whoa!
Everybody doesn't join forces and beat the shit out of me.
It's a me, Maura McTaggart, the character I forgot showed up again after X-Men First Class.
Oh yeah, she did show up in Apocalypse.
Yeah,
She did.
when she showed up, I was just thinking back to our X-Men First Class
a
discussion, and I literally pointed out, I'm like, how is this the only X-Men movie that Maura McTaggart has appeared in? And then I see her in Apocalypse, I'm like, oh, I forgot they brought her back.
What happens to her after Apocalypse? Why don't we
No
see her?
idea.
Yeah, so she just gets rode out again.
Yeah, no idea, because she literally gives, well, this, we're jumping to the end, but Charles gives her memories of the First Class back, and that's the last thing you see of her. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like why wouldn't this is just full spoiler. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and just spoil everything. But
I mean, the movie's
like-
8 years old.
yeah, but in Apocalypse or in Dark Phoenix, she could have really fucking helped them out. Like seriously helped them out. When the president's just like, "No, Charles, this phone is totally disconnected now. I'm not talking to you anymore." He's like, "Wait, I think you're making the wrong idea." And then there's like a 2-second pause, and then it's the dial tone noise. It's like, did that asshole really just wait to hear him out and then hang up? What a dick.
There's one story thread of Dark Phoenix I found like the most fascinating above any other, but I guess should we start with Apocalypse and then get to Dark
Yeah,
Phoenix
yeah.
later?
I feel like we should, yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll get into Dark Phoenix later, so stick around for that. But X-Men Apocalypse, where the worst character is the title character, Apocalypse.
Mhm.
Yeah, this movie, I enjoyed it a lot more
Yeah.
than I remembered. Like, I honestly think, like, I thought Scott sucked in this movie a lot because he was annoying, but I think he's a lot better in Dark Phoenix. So, he gets a little bit of redemption. But God, he was an annoying, whiny little shit in this one.
I don't know if it's just because I watched this like pretty late at night, but did it feel to anyone else like Jennifer Lawrence? Like, she wasn't bad or anything, she wasn't terrible, but did it kind of feel like she was phoning it in at times?
Wasn't that, like, the whole controversy? She was, like, done with those movies, but she was
Yeah.
contractually obligated to do,
Okay,
like,
that
2
would make
more.
sense, because it just, her performance felt more lazy in these two than it did in the first two.
And then
Ye-
it's like and then I think that like a stipulation was she had to die. And so they just fucking killed her at like almost, I don't know, 35 minutes into Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, I forgot she was even in Dark Phoenix, and then when that happened, I'm like, oh, this is why I don't remember her in Dark Phoenix.
How could you forget? They literally spoiled her death in the trailer, I'm pretty sure.
They probably
Yeah,
did. I don't
I think
remember
they
watching
did,
the trailer
yeah.
for that.
I remember
She-
seeing the trailer.
I find Raven to be so frustrating in these two movies because she just feels like she doesn't fit. Like, I don't know, like, I was pretty okay with her in the first two of this kind of set of movies, and I actually think she works very well. We talked about that last time. But, like, here it just feels like, well, we don't have very many established X-Men characters in our universe. Let's just throw her in an X-Men suit. And I kind of feel like that just kind of ruins the funness of Raven. Like, I don't know. I find it to be, like, significantly less cool when she's, like, an X-Men.
Aren't they supposed to be like so Apocalypse is Days of Future Past kind of started, but Apocalypse really just scrambles the X-Men timeline completely. Like, can either of you guys explain this timeline to me at all? Because with First Class, it feels like these are supposed to be prequel films, right? But then Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix diverge so far from that, and it's like just a completely different timeline.
No,
Because
fully.
Mystique dies in Dark Phoenix, and like obviously she's there in the original trilogy.
Yeah. No, like, it's fully, like, Crisis Rules, where it's like, we reset the timeline so we can do whatever the fuck we want. Like, there's no limit on what we can or cannot change.
So, okay, I'm looking at so this is like seems to be the definitive like timeline. So there's two timelines. It goes
Yes, okay.
First Class, Origins, X-Men 1, X2, and The Last Stand. And then from Origins, it diverges onto another timeline where it's Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix.
Would Days of Future Past not take place in both timelines? Wouldn't it have to? Because like the original trilogy characters are there, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as Magneto and Professor X.
Fuck, man, I don't know.
I feel like I don't know if you wanted a reasonable explanation to that, maybe Days of Future Past is what like it doesn't make sense to me that Origins would branch off the other timeline. I think Days of Future Past would have to be that movie that branched off the other timeline because it's like all about going back and stopping the Sentinels from destroying the Earth.
Oh yeah, what a fucking tease at the end of Apocalypse, by the way, where they're fighting the Sentinels.
At the end of Apocalypse?
Yeah. And then they're training to be the X-Men or whatever.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, in the
And
training
I'm like,
room.
wait a second. Didn't you guys just, like, do a whole previous movie about how these things are bad and y'all probably shouldn't, like, create them or anything? And then y'all went and fucking, like, created some to fight?
Yeah, and, like, the Wolverine scene alone makes it so blatantly obvious that this movie had nothing to do with the original timeline, because if Wolverine had met all these characters beforehand, meeting them in the first X-Men movie would make zero sense, because it was post Weapon X program. So, like, his memories of the past, his past life were already gone, so he met them after that, so he would remember them, but yeah. I don't know, that Wolverine scene will never make any sense to me. It's like, yeah, we got Hugh Jackman. We got him. We got Wolverine in this movie for a cameo.
Fair, it's one of the best Wolverine scenes in any X-Men movie.
Oh, it's cool as hell, but it makes no sense in context.
Nope. How'd y'all feel about Jean Grey?
Oh, okay, so I think I told Darren this earlier, but I feel like I may just not be like a Jean Grey fan in general. I've never been super invested in her in anything. That goes for the original trilogy, these movies, and like even X-Men the animated series. But I don't know. Her character she doesn't do anything for me in these movies.
I really love that cast. I think that casting is absolutely spot on.
That's what I meant, mainly. That's casting Sophie Turner.
It's so good. Yeah, like, and obviously, like, that's at a time where she's at the top of the world with, like, Game of Thrones and stuff like that. But, like some of the acting and stuff I do think is pretty poor. But I don't know how much of it is, like, her herself or if it's, like, the script and the directing. Like, I feel like it could be a mix of it all. But, like, look-wise, that's just Jean Grey. Like, she's absolutely phenomenal. I think that's great casting.
Oh, the look for sure. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's great.
Didn't Dark Phoenix go through a bunch of like reshoots and stuff?
I bet. I would not be shocked.
This is hard to remember this stuff. Like, there's those infamous movies like Justice League and stuff like that that had so many reshoots.
Yeah.
But like it's hard to remember if like Dark Phoenix had reshoots, because I don't even, if you would have asked me what year Dark Phoenix came out, I would have guessed like 2016 or something, because I had no idea.
It's 2019, which was also a very awkward era because Disney had then bought back the rights to Fox and stuff like that. So we were in a strange era of like, we're still making these X-Men movies, but now Disney owns us. So are we canceling these movies, or are they joining the MCU? Like, it was such a confusing time. And I feel like everyone was just kind of waiting for the next thing. And by the time that movie came out, I was like, I don't care. Give me the MCU X-Men.
Yeah, I want to say that Dark Phoenix was like the first comic book movie since the first Deadpool that I didn't see in theaters. Like from Deadpool to whatever was before Dark Phoenix, I saw all of them in theaters. And then Dark Phoenix was coming out. I was like, I don't care about that. I'm not spending money.
You know, I know Disney came in and like helped the MCU and stuff like that, but I think like Disney should sell rights to make movies to other studios because they are just good God, like with like Star Wars and Marvel and all this other stuff, they just can't make good properties. It seems like, or make these properties good.
I
Because the
really want
studio-
Marvel movies outside of the main MCU too. Like I think I've mentioned that in the past. That's like
Yeah.
I'm really glad that DC is doing the Elseworlds thing as well because it gives us something that isn't just the main continuity of films. Like it gives you a break from that.
Which could be cool with Sony. Like in, you know, if they were good, right? Like we have the
Yeah.
Spider-Verse stuff, that's cool. And like I feel like that could be like your ray of sunshine. We're like, okay, we can have these movies and shows that aren't connected to the MCU. They're just not doing them right.
Well, and another thing is like you can leave it so open ended that if you just throw that character in a team up movie randomly just once, you know, for a little bit of fan service for a cheap pop, it would work. Like look at Daredevil in the Spider-Man movie. He's just there. It's just that's Matt Murdock. He's a lawyer, just lawyering around. You know, it's like okay, that works. You know, but I don't know. It's so annoying how much studio interference there is in all these movies, and it's like,
Yeah.
Why do you just? I don't know. Why do they do the things that they do? Tell me.
I couldn't tell you. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah.
You heard the whole thing with like the Acolyte or something like that?
Which part?
The thing where it's like apparently there's like another person or there's like characters born from the Force or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's the whole point of Anakin Skywalker? Then he's the first that's ever been, you know, and it kind of like ruins. Maybe they explain it better. I don't know.
I know,
it's
like
weak.
it's one of those things. I haven't seen the episode yet, but there's a whole side of that internet culture that's just like, how dare they? And I was just like, all right, I think he'll be okay. You know what I mean? Like, I think I haven't like loved not Andor. What's it called again? I go like, I haven't like loved it or anything, but like the people that are like hating it, I feel like there's other stuff behind that outside of just like I don't like the show. It's clearly like it's a black female lead in a Star Wars project. Like
well, like I think it's also the people that just hate the Disney stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say there's like just a certain group of people on the internet that go into things wanting to hate it, so obviously they're going to hate it. Like if you go into something not wanting to like it, you're probably not gonna like it. Your mind's already set.
Oh, well, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's crazy how like did you hear a lot of people complain about like season 1 of Mandalorian? No.
Yeah. No.
Why?
No,
because it was good. It was good. No. Like it was just good from start to finish. Like season 2, I think people had a little bit of issues in season 3, but that's typical with shows normally.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to capitalize on like a really good first season.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if you just make something good, then it's like, how are people going to complain? But if you have like me, I'm an average Star Wars fan. If I go to start watching a Star Wars property and I'm just like, fuck, I'm bored, and then I just turn it off, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't love Star Wars either. It's just like I'll watch it if I can, but like but with Star Wars though, it's so tough because it feels like the fans hate literally everything. Like everything that comes out, it's like we're gonna hate this. Like even Mando, like people hated Mando season 3. Like I was like, this is the worst thing ever. And just like I don't know, like when was the last time y'all loved something or even liked something? Like it's so hard to get them on board. I feel like.
Well, I think it's going to be the same thing that happened with like the original, or I say the original 3, the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Like the old fans hated it, but the new fans liked it. Now, I don't think anybody's going to like the Rey saga. That saga doesn't make sense in my opinion.
Oh, I mean, it's already happening. Like they're creating a fan base around it, and now it's like, but all the new Disney Plus stuff is the ones that are bad, and it's like that. I think that's going to be an endless cycle. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to get these new movies because they're doing a whole track of new Star Wars movies, and now it's going to be like, oh, this Disney Plus stuff is good. So it's like this endless cycle of like what is old is now good and what's new is now bad type of thing, I think.
And I think that's going to be the problem, like going back to Marvel, because if you look at it, Disney or Star Wars is a cash cow. But I think in this century, or not this century, but like in this like most recent decade, Marvel is your cash cow.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what they're going to start doing with all the, like, when they introduce the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and stuff like that into the MCU. I feel like it's just going to be like, well, if it's bad and you don't like it, well, you're stupid. That's why I think, like, let other studios take a shot at it.
I feel like
And
they've already started that, haven't they? With like the Disney Plus shows, it's like, oh, if you don't like this, we don't care. It's like, okay, cool. You're just gonna lose some of your fan base then.
Yeah.
It's like they build this fan base and then they don't care they lose some, but like it's gonna get to a point where you lose so much of it that you're not gonna be what you once were.
Well,
like
it's
you
like-
gotta do something to keep people. You can't just like get them and then drop off.
How many bad Marvel movies did it take for us to just kind of stop going to the theaters and seeing them in theaters?
I feel
It was like one or two in a row, and then I was just like, I have no faith in this anymore.
yeah, well, after Endgame, there's Far From Home, which I liked Far From Home, and then after that, Black Widow, and I think the first few after Black Widow I didn't see in theaters. I didn't see Shang-Chi, I didn't see Eternals, I didn't see either of those in theaters.
Yeah.
I like
think
Shang-Chi for the most part.
I
liked it, but I still didn't see it in theaters. But once I did watch it, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think COVID also messed things up because there was like a 2-year gap without like anything. So like when it came back, it was like, okay, here's 16 projects in 1 year. It's like, whoa, I cannot, it's like the average person, like, I cannot keep up with all of these TV shows and movies and projects. And we're still dealing with that because now we have the writer's strike, which also pushed things back like an entire year. So it's
like
tough.
I don't know, like pre-COVID Marvel, it just felt like they had a sense of direction, and now it like almost feels like they don't. I guess they kind of did with the Kang stuff, but they're about to ship that, and it's like, okay, what are we doing here?
To be fair, though, did it feel like they had a direction with the Kang stuff? Because it really seemed
not entirely.
very
Like
random.
outside of Loki, I didn't really feel any direction with that.
Like I saw I fell asleep during Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but
I can't blame you.
Yeah, I think you told me don't even watch it, and I was like, no, man, I gotta watch all the newest Marvel stuff, and you're like, it's not worth it. I was like, oh no, man, it's gonna be worth it. It's Paul Rudd, and you're like, trust me.
I don't love it, man. But I think not to get way off track from the X-Men because I feel like we're getting there. But like I feel like season 4.
Hey,
was
this is that so random, Darren.
Like season 4 or phase 4 was supposed to be like the experimental phase, right? It was supposed to be them introducing new characters, new ideas, new formats. They were trying to try these new things. Some of it really, really worked. Some of it really, really didn't. And it was also them kind of listening to the fans because after phase 3, it was the number one thing in the world. So they were like, okay, people want more. People want us to put out more content. This is what people love. And they realized very quickly, oh, it was too much. Maybe we shouldn't have gave every single character a project and put it all out in phase 4. And now I think we're in the era of them trying to course correct. Them being like Bob Iger being back in the studio, being like, oh, we're scaling back. We gotta pull back and try to like save what we got going on. But the issue is they've already made so much that they can't. They just have to put this stuff out now, and it's going to take a while to get to that place where we can fix things, I feel.
I feel like it just got to a certain point where it was like quantity over quantity, or quantity over quality. Sorry.
Quantity.
I got you.
Quantity over quality, and that's going to always be a problem with any franchise. Like, you can't,
100%, yeah.
You can't do that.
Well, did you see those like rumors floating around that they wanted to like scrap, which I don't know how true they were, but they wanted to like scrap future projects and then go back to Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Black Widow, Thor, but with like new leads and like kind of redo the Avengers 2012. And it's like, well, fucking, what are you gonna do? Like Iron Man's daughter is gonna be Iron Man, and
I think that was one of those theories that was going around where they're like, yeah, we're not doing that right now, at least. Like, there's always the conversation of like, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back, or, he said the other day, like, oh, I would be up to coming back or whatever. And I don't know, maybe at some point in the future they might go that direction. I personally think that's the laziest and most boring option you could go in. Like obviously we got Secret Wars coming, which is all about kind of like resetting things. And if you want, you could do like, okay, Iron Man's back or Captain America's back. But I think that's so lazy. Like, I would absolutely hate if they did.
Well, what if they did like a Secret Wars Captain America, but he's like the Venom age or the Hydra agent?
Yeah.
Like we see Steve Rogers as Captain America and we're like, oh my god! Turns out he's a fucking bad guy the whole time. That'd be pretty cool.
I want Chris Evans back, but as Human Torch. I think that would be amazing. Like, you just have Chris Evans coming out, they, like, play the Captain America music, and the whole theater's like, oh my gosh! And it's like, oh, nope, flame on, alright, that's funny, you know?
I think it's
He
just
like
because
catches
of the
shield off screen and then
That-
like
that-
slowly lowers it, and everybody's like, oh, and he's like, flame on. It just catches on fire and flies at
Yeah.
somebody.
This is kind of back to X-Men a little bit, so
Yeah,
not again, but it ties into all this Marvel stuff too. It's kind of like it's kind of a shame that we're not really going to get Steve Rogers like with these Fox properties, because just
Yeah.
like the animated X-Men stuff I've seen, there's like a history between Logan and Steve
Yes.
Rogers there,
Yeah,
and
if
I
you
would
bring
love
Steve
to
back,
explore that.
Like, if you brought Steve back, that'd be the exact way I'd want to bring him back. It's like through flashbacks with Wolverine.
That would be awesome, dude, because that's like
Yeah.
there's an episode in X-Men the animated series, and I think Wolverine and the X-Men that are about that relationship. And it's always something that's interesting to me.
I
And
agree.
Charles is like, Logan, you were in World War II? That makes you like 100 years old. And he's like, yeah. What's your point, bub?
Okay, here's the thing. In these two movies, do you think Charles Xavier is a bad guy?
Okay, so we'll get more into this in Dark Phoenix, but that is the most interesting plot thread of Dark Phoenix to me, is that he's like portrayed as the villain.
Yeah.
I think Charles Xavier is kind of always that. Like you
Yeah.
you can perceive him in that light, but you can also look at him in another light. Like in a sense, he is doing. Oh no, I guess he's doing what is good or what he believes is good. But like when you really look at it, he's kind of just doing what is good for him.
Yeah. I kind of.
I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's my bad. I feel like him building the mental blocks for Jean helped out humanity.
Yeah.
You know, and think about it. If the Phoenix Force would have never entered her body, she would have been perfectly fine for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
How was he supposed to anticipate a cosmic force entering her body?
Yeah.
Now, when they were in space and he's just like, yeah, go back for that dude. In Dark Phoenix, it's like, dude, what the fuck? Don't put your people. All right, pull a Magneto here. Just be like, all right, pull out, guys. Roll credits.
No, it's like that. It's like that scene between him and Mystique, where Mystique's like, "Okay, so you're gonna sacrifice us to save them," and he's like, "Yes, that's exactly what I'm gonna do." It's like, okay, Charles, chill out for a minute, like, right? Like it's kind of. And they point out that, like, you know, when's the last time you were actually sacrificing yourself or whatever? Like, it is kind of different when you're, like, man in the chair versus when you're on the front line. Like, I feel like you have more of a right to do that when you're actually in the field with them, opposed to just guiding them.
But also, like, what's he supposed to do? Just, like, go into space with his little wheelchair? Like, I feel like, I don't know, like, I felt like that. I don't know, I kind of thought this was the movie where he was, like, the least assholist. Like, I feel like they were making, that's not a real word, I'm so sorry. But, like, they were building up the storyline where, like, oh, he's the villain, he's the bad guy. And I was like, I don't know, I kind of feel like this is the movie where he's been the nicest out of the four we've seen him in.
Yeah, no
Maybe that's
kidding.
just me.
Yeah, it's like he was at his peak probably in like Apocalypse, or not Apocalypse, but Days of Future Past. And then he's kind of like on a downward slope in Apocalypse. And then like in Dark Phoenix, it's like, it's just like, I mean, he's not a perfect guy, but I mean, who is?
No. And I feel like this is the most we've seen him be like a teacher. Like I actually love how this movie opens. Like the opening, I know we've jumped to the second movie already, I'm sorry. But like the opening when he's meeting Jean for the first time and he's like anything you break, I can fix. Like that's who Xavier is. He's a troubled man. Yes, he doesn't always do the right thing, but he's a father. He's a teacher. And it feels like, I don't know, it felt like the first time in this continuity where we got to see Xavier teach and guide one of his students, which I think was kind of cool.
And we see him stick up for Jean, too. I don't know why it takes us till the end of the fucking movie to see him stick up for her. But, yeah, it's like her dad says, nobody can, what did he say? Nobody can control her, something like that. And then he's like, she doesn't need to be controlled. She just needs to be guided. She's not a lost cause. And he's like, oh, you know, whatever. And it's like, well, fuck, why didn't she see that shit like 45 minutes ago and realize Charles wasn't that bad of a dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Charles isn't a bad guy. It just goes back to the parallels between him and Magneto, I guess. Like, when you really look at it, neither one of them are necessarily like pure evil or anything. Like they're not terrible people onto themselves. Just like their motives and their missions kind of get in the way of their morals at times.
Yeah.
I don't know. Magneto was about to fucking kill an entire steel mill of innocent men for no fucking reason.
Well, he was upset his family died.
He's a wanted supervillain. Of course those motherfuckers turned him
He
in.
was trying to live a new life, though. He was trying to leave all of that behind, and they wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
They
Well, he
brought
should
that
have
upon
walked up to a guy.
themselves.
Oh my gosh, you are as blind for Magneto as I am for Walter White.
I do love Magneto. He's my favorite Marvel villain.
I
So
do.
what?
I will say I hated him so much in Phoenix. He should not have been in Dark.
I think he
fully
should have
agree.
died.
I kind of agree with Darren. I wish he just wasn't in the movie.
Really?
This continuity has such an obsession with him, where it's like he has to be in every one of the movies, and I don't think he should have been in really either of these. I feel like he's kind of shoehorned in both, where it's like, well, he's got to come back in these ones, I guess. Fine,
Yeah, it was pretty
we'll
lame
do it.
him being one of Apocalypse's 4 horsemen, and obviously he's the one that turns eventually, but it's like,
Yeah,
first, Magneto is not a follower, first of all. He would not agree to that shit.
yeah.
Well, the way that I saw it was Apocalypse corrupted his mind.
I
Gave
love
him
when they
that
show
power.
up and Still Mill and Magneto just looks back, who the fuck are you?
Yeah. I like how he says, oh, they drop an F-bomb in Dark Phoenix, too. Don't forget, Scott Summers says it.
They do. That felt
Yeah.
weird to me. That felt very random.
Yeah, that one felt really forced. And I was like, when I heard it, I was like, is like his fucking mom listening or something? Like, should he have not said that? Like, is he old enough to say that? You know, I was kind of confused.
They never make it clear how old they are in these movies. They're
I think they're, like-
students, but like how old are they though? Are they like 16,
I think
17,
they're about
18?
I think they're about 15 to 16. I can look it up though. In what Apocalypse? Is that what we want to know?
In
I guess
Apocalypse, I
both
would say
because
they're
they kind of
15.
just bleed together.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind, these movies took place in the 70s,
Yeah.
right? It's supposed to take place in the 70s. Shouldn't Michael Fassbender be like, I don't know, 60 years old by that point or something? If World War II, if it happened when he was a child?
Yeah.
How is you know World War II was in the 40s, right?
Oh, okay, so his age is right. I just can't. I
Were
can't
you
do that
thinking
kind
of
math
World
real
War
quick.
One?
I was
Okay.
thinking World War One. I'm sitting here. I'm like, wait a
Because I was about to say,
second,
you know, First Class takes place in like 1963 for the most part. He's only in his 20s or whatever.
yeah, he's supposed to be.
Yeah. So the timeline does add up in terms of his and Charles's age.
Yeah. There's and I think we may have talked about this in like a past one, but like there's been a lot of talk about like, well, what is the MCU going to do? How are they going to line that up? You know.
You want to know how I would do it? I would just make his origin the same, and then be like, his mutation also makes it where he doesn't age very much.
I agree. That's exactly how I do it too.
Yeah, like with the Punisher, like you could change from war to war his origin if you want to, and also he doesn't really have superpowers. Magneto, he's got a superpower. Just be like, yeah, his mutation just keeps him from aging. He keeps the metals in his blood flowing cool, and it keeps him from age. There you go. That's it. That's all you got to do. You don't have to overcomplicate it.
Yeah, he just
It could be a
he just
throwaway
looks good for his
line.
age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a mutant. You can just just a throwaway line of dialogue can explain it. It's
So you
comic
didn't
book.
like Apocalypse.
What?
So you
Oh, the
didn't like
character?
Apocalypse. Yeah.
Not really.
I didn't really either. But I liked how he got his followers, kind of.
Yeah.
How he kind of like takes. I saw it as he took over their minds and showed them like unlimited power. And then that like kind of wore off, except, well, they fucking kill Angel, which sucks because he's cool. But they killed him.
These movies hate
Psylocke.
Angel so much.
Yeah. Psylocke just runs off. She just fucking skedaddles out of there. Caliban just goes underground and even more underground and ends up with Logan at some point, which he wasn't a follower of Apocalypse, but
Yeah, so
Um,
Apocalypse is almost like I guess in a sense it's like he's making a deal with the devil type thing, like where he promises you a certain thing and he like gives it to you but not in the way you want or respect.
yeah.
Like he'll give you all this power, but it's going to come at a cost.
Yeah, also, the one thing that I didn't really like about Apocalypse War, or not Apocalypse was. Apocalypse
That's
was
DC.
the fact that Jean just kind of stops being a pussy and steps up and just kills him. It's like, well, fuck, why didn't you do that from, I don't know, the beginning of the movie before everybody started dying?
Charles was like, Jean, I need you! And she's like, alright, I'll go kill him, fine.
And then he says the same thing in Dark Phoenix. Let loose, Jean!
Oh yeah, Darren. So Andrew would know this because he didn't show up to our X-Men Days of Future Past episode. But Quicksilver, I told you that his relationship with Magneto, him knowing that Magneto was his father, was explored more in this movie.
Yep.
That is something I did remember.
Yeah, it was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Quicksilver freaking rocks in Apocalypse. And, like, that's the one thing about, like, Magneto that I enjoyed. But I feel like they don't finish that storyline. Like,
they don't. I was about to say.
Like,
it's explored for like 5 minutes and then it's forgotten about.
It's so funny because that's his whole arc of the movie is, like, meeting his dad and, like, forcing that conflict. And, like, he ends the movie, he's like, well, maybe next time. I was like, wait. No, go.
He's like, I'm here for my family, too. It's like, no, just tell him. You're his son. Just tell him. Like, he will probably be enthusiastic about that, seeing as he just lost a daughter and a wife.
Yeah.
He's probably like, oh my god, I still have family? Like, I don't know, I feel like that should have been the thing that made Magneto turn, and not just Mystique being like, oh, Eric, you used to be this guy, and now you're just this. And he's like, oh.
She basically said Eric wanna bang, and he was like, alright, before Hank gets all up in that, let me hit. That's basically what he said.
And obviously it's a rights thing, I know why, but it's so frustrating that, like, Magneto is in every one of these movies and they don't get to explore his, like, family. Like, I feel like that's one of the most interesting things about him. They just don't get to do it. So, I don't know.
Yo, do you know how hard, like, a House of M movie would go one day? That's where, like, Scarlet Witch just...
That'd be really cool.
Does she, like, kill, like, half of the Marvel Universe or some shit? Or is she, like... Yeah. She, like, kills half of the mutants or something.
Yeah,
because
like, no more mutants, right? She wipes them all out or something.
Yeah, and there's only like 2% of them left on the planet. Like if the MCU could build to that, that would be pretty freaking cool. I wonder how they're going to handle Scarlet Witch, because she didn't die in Doctor Strange, did she? It's been a
no, she's locked away.
Okay, yeah. So I wonder with like the introduction of Magneto and like so with the timelines and everything, they could also bring Quicksilver back in some way, like bringing Evan Peters back would be cool because
bring Anthony Taylor Johnson back.
He died. Aaron Taylor Johnson, not Anthony.
Oh, sorry, Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I think that's all Secret War stuff. I really do. I think Secret Wars is going to make so that X-Men were always here, and I think one of those things is going to be, oh, Scarlet Witch is a mutant now, and again, that's how you bring back your Quicksilver. And maybe a Polaris as well. Like, I've been pitching to bring the Polaris over from the Gifted show. I think that'd be really
I feel
sick.
like that's, like, the only way to do it is, like, to make it seem like the X-Men were always there. Like, mutants were always a thing. Like, maybe
you have to change
just now the mutant gene was, like, it was just now discovered, but it's been a thing for years. Because it's, like, it doesn't make sense as that's just something that just randomly formed inside of humans.
No. Yeah, no. It be a huge thing. Like, you have to make it like, oh, now it is a thing because A, B, and C. Like, they can't just be like, it can't be like an Eternals or Captain Marvel thing where like, well, they were here, we just didn't see them. Like, no, that would make literally no sense.
So, is Secret Wars like a multiverse type of deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
so
not
there's like,
there's
like at least 2, maybe even more types of Secret Wars in Marvel comics. So I don't know if they all deal with multiverse type stuff, but there's definitely, I think the one from the 80s definitely does. I think, or is that the original one? I don't know which one's the original and what's not. I'm not well versed on it enough, but I think the second Secret Wars was definitely a multiverse type thing. The first one was like a Hunger Games type thing before the Hunger Games or something like that. So I would assume, but with all the multiverse stuff they've been setting up, I'd assume, yes, that's the Secret Wars we're going to get.
Yeah, it's the multiverse saga, right? So,
are they going to bring the Sony movies into that? We'll make our time worthwhile with these shit movies.
I would be shocked if Venom's not, like, their Venom, like Tom Hardy Venom, isn't a big part of Secret Wars.
Seeing as he was in the post-credit scene of No Way Home, I would hope that they bring him back for something, because it's going to be so stupid if he's just in that end-credit scene and then just gets split back to his universe. Like, and a piece of the symbiote got left behind, obviously. So, like, Venom's coming down the line in the MCU. There's no doubt about that.
That's the thing that's so confusing, is in the Venom trailer, they show them picking up the slime in the MCU. And it's like, but that makes no sense. It literally walked away.
Me and Andrew and I talked about this the last time, the Venom trailer briefly.
So stupid.
But there's just the Venom trailer in general makes no narrative sense whatsoever. I could not tell you what the story of that movie is going to be at all.
Yeah, no, we couldn't figure it out. We tried. We sat there and we're like, what do you think is happening? And he's like, I'm like, neither do I. So
I think it's about
Venom, the symbiotes from Venom's home planet are invading, and there's a symbiote horse. I don't know what else is going on.
Listen, I got a symbiote horse, and that's all I need. I'm good.
Oh, that sold you on the movie. Cool. You're going to be there opening night.
Honestly,
on the symbiote horse.
Honestly, it's at the end of October. I might be there opening night. Not gonna lie. No, Andrew, I'm gonna be back home then.
I mean, Joker 2 in October.
I'm excited for Joker 2. The only musical I'll ever get excited.
I'm excited for Batman Beyond movie.
Fuck you.
Yeah, they're making it. Trust me. Ever since I started watching it, it's gonna happen now.
Hell yeah.
You're going to make me rewatch that show if you keep watching, and I'm not going to complain.
Damn, that's an ominous threat right there. I'm going to make you rewatch a good show? Damn.
Oh, you called it a good show. That's a good sign.
Oh, yeah, I'm enjoying it.
That's good, because it's damn good. It's better than these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not a high bar.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, do we have anything else to say about Apocalypse before we've already talked some about Dark Phoenix, but before we
I feel like I've talked way more about Dark Phoenix. I have Apocalypse. I feel like I didn't even give my thoughts on Apocalypse yet.
What? Okay, dude, Storm being an Apocalypse was so weird and random. Like, why is she one of the horsemen? Why is she even here? It's like they wanted to set up the OG X-Men team in just the most obscure and rushed way possible. It's like, oh, we need Storm here because she's part of the original team. Let's just make her a Horseman of Apocalypse, and we'll convert her to good by the end. It's like, okay.
Yeah, these movies just waste the coolest characters, and it bugs me so much. Like, Apocalypse, I actually really enjoyed Apocalypse, but characters like Storm, characters like Angel, even still Scott, like characters like Scott and Jean, I feel like Jean was actually pretty cool in Apocalypse, but like Scott even, it's just like, he's kind of boring still. Like, I don't know, like they take these really cool characters and they waste them time and again, and it's so frustrating. Especially like, I'm watching this post X-Men 97, which is like, not to spoil it for anyone who hasn't yet, Brayden, like they like, I don't know, they like make these characters the coolest that they could possibly be, and it's just like, I want more from them. I want them to
give me Rogue again. By the way, we haven't had Rogue in a movie since 2006. What the hell?
My gosh, yeah, give me a Rogue movie. I would love like a Rogue movie or like TV show so bad. That'd be so cool.
We're not getting one. I forbid it. I don't like Rogue. I want a Kitty Pryde solo movie.
I don't remember our discussion of the original trilogy, but do you not like Rogue?
Oh, no, I think she's fine.
Okay.
I just don't like giving the fans what they want. It completely contradicts what I said earlier.
Okay, so Darren, we kind of talked about this before we recorded the Days of Future Past episode, but the Rogue cut. So I've seen photos from that. I've never seen the actual Rogue cut. Is that just where, like, Rogue is doing the thing that Kitty Pryde is doing instead of her?
I literally have no idea. I haven't watched it.
Because I swear I've seen the exact pose that Kitty Pryde is in with Wolverine, like her palms over his head. And it's just Rogue. And I'm like, is this why it's called the Rogue cut? Is Rogue in this fucking movie?
Apparently,
maybe I should watch it.
It's so crazy because like I posted about it, like I had made like what's your opinion on this movie? And like every other person was like, it's good, but the Rogue cut is so much better. I was like, what are you talking about? I've never even heard of this thing.
I thought it was just like the extended cut, but then I saw like the character Rogue on Google Images, which Photoshop's a thing, AI's a thing nowadays. I don't know what's real and what's not. I
If you
don't
saw it
know
on the
what
internet,
images
it's
to
probably
trust.
true. It's probably true if you saw it on the internet.
That's true. Yeah, everything you see on the internet is true, kids.
Never lied.
Yeah, did you hear they're having a Iron Man versus Wolverine death battle? Winner gets custody of Squirrel Girl.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be the next What If episode.
Both characters have died in Marvel movies. Spoilers for one of the next movies we'll be reviewing.
Oh man, I'm not ready. I am ready, but I'm also not ready.
I'm so ready, but I understand.
Anyways,
Okay.
to explain the plot of Dark Phoenix to you, Braden, because you had no idea what the fuck the plot was with the
No, I told
antagonist.
you I didn't understand the antagonist's motives, not what the plot was.
They're so bad.
So they wanted the Phoenix Force. They're random aliens. I kid you not, it's like a split second. They're talking in an alien language, first off. So if you're not looking at the screen, you don't see it. And it's a split second scene of you seeing their spaceship behind the X-Men ship. First off, how the fuck didn't Hank see that? Whatever. He's a bad pilot, I guess. Second, why only a split second? And why is it something that's so easily missed that's so important? They were tracking the Phoenix Force, and they wanted it to rebuild their civilization, but they were just going to rebuild their civilization on Earth.
That's like
and
they
kill
try
everybody.
to do so much in that movie and make you feel like so much has happened, but none of it whatsoever feels impactful in any way.
Honestly, the aliens kind of felt like Skrulls.
I just felt like they felt less than trolls.
They might be one of the most boring Marvel villains they've ever made. Outside
Because they just
of, like,
show up from out of nowhere and they just
They
start
do.
taking the form of like random humans. It's like, okay.
I'm not an expert in like X-Men comics or anything, but like I feel like normally you don't need another villain outside of Dark Phoenix. Like I kind of think that takes away from the coolness of Dark Phoenix a little bit, just because she is so powerful and that is such a personal villain. And I feel like they literally did the Dark Phoenix storyline twice, and they both are so bad. Like they failed twice. I don't know how you fail twice.
They both feel like, I don't know if you at this point, since they failed so hard twice, I don't know if you can make this into a film, but I feel like if you were to, it might need to be two parts, because isn't there like, I just know this because I haven't read the actual stories, the actual original comic line, but in X-Men the Animated Series, like all of season 3 is about
It's
the
a whole
Phoenix
season.
Force. Yes.
What?
So they
And-
have like the first set is like the Phoenix Saga, and then the next set is the Dark Phoenix. So they're like two separate things. So I feel like you would need just a movie about the Phoenix Force and how it comes to be one with Jean Grey. So that being the Phoenix Saga, and is that the one where the Inner Circle is involved, or is it Dark Phoenix that the Inner Circle is involved? But
I think
the
it's
one.
I think it's Dark Phoenix. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and then Dark Phoenix is like an entirely separate thing. So it's like I feel like you kind of need both for the other to make sense.
And this
Well,
is
here's the thing: they just didn't want to make Jean the bad guy. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if you set it up properly, you know that Jean isn't the bad guy. The Phoenix Force has control of her.
Well, she killed Mystique, which was everybody's favorite character.
Oh my gosh,
My favorite character totally wasn't Magneto, the villain of the franchise.
Only one X-Men died.
One X-Men.
Yeah, one X-Men.
In this movie?
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Dude, that line of where she's like, "Oh, Charles, maybe you should be calling it X-Women," was like so cringe. Like, I got where she was coming from, but I'm like, you could have like said that in a better way.
I remember when that first clip like hit the internet, people went mad. Like, I feel like that was one of the earlier like, "Oh, Hollywood's gone woke" like clips that like the internet went crazy over, and like that's one of the rare occasions where I'm like, yeah, that scene sucks. I'm kind of with you on that one.
Yeah, it's just from out of nowhere is the thing. It's like, where is this coming from? Like, there is no setup for this at all.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
didn't Magneto save her in the last movie? Like in Apocalypse and in Days of Future Past, didn't Magneto save Mystique twice?
Well, Magneto tried to kill her in Days of Future Past.
Oh, that's right. Who saved her?
No, and she just got away.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then her and Magneto have like the scene, and she's like, "Eric, you tried to kill me." He's like, "Yeah, but it was to save all of mutant kind." And it's like, yeah, I get where Magneto's coming from. Yeah, I know I'm blind to Magneto, okay? You've already pointed that out.
Yeah, you're as blind to him, and like I said, as I'm as blind to Walter White. He did nothing wrong.
We're gonna have to do a Breaking Bad episode someday. As much as I mentioned fucking Walter White.
Yeah. So that Nightcrawler scene where that dude dies in his arms. Oh man, he gets pissed off. Holy shit. That I think is equal to the White House scene.
I don't agree with that, but fair enough. I think it's good, but I don't think it's as good as the White House scene.
Dude, he is stabbing people through the neck with his tail. He's dropping a blade and then disappearing, punching the person into the blade, and then reappearing behind him and pulling it out. Dude, it's so good.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's cool, but I just don't find it as visually interesting as the White House scene.
I love that White House scene.
It's probably because it's in a smaller space. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
And it's very compact, kind of. But I do think the whole train fight scene was awesome.
Between Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, it's probably the best Nightcrawler scene because I thought Nightcrawler was very underwhelming in Apocalypse.
Yeah. I feel like none of the fight scenes really blew me away in Dark Phoenix, but I love the gun scene with Magneto in this one, where he's just shooting the guns like that. I was like, all right, that's pretty.
I don't remember which of you said the helicopter scene with Magneto was in Apocalypse, and I told you it was Dark Phoenix, but I told you it was Dark Phoenix.
It was me.
They remembered.
Yeah, I love that scene though. He's got every vein popping, and he's like, "I can't hold it, get it and run!" And she's just kind of barely holding on to it. He's straining every ounce of his body. Nice. I think there should have been some carryover where that power that Apocalypse gave to him still lingers in his body, him and Storm. So I feel
that'd be cool.
Yeah, and so Storm could be more powerful, and she could have had a one-on-one fight with the main mutant lady rather than. Well, I guess she did have a one-on-one fight with her, but she got her ass kicked. She got beat handedly.
Yeah, I don't get how that lady. I don't know. Jean Grey is just such an overpowered character because it's that lady kicks every one of the X-Men's ass and then goes to the final showdown with Jean Grey, and Jean Grey just completely owns her. It's I get Jean Grey is the most powerful, but how is she this much more powerful? She could literally kill all the X-Men if she wanted to in the blink of an eye.
What I don't understand is how come a 50 cal rocked those aliens, but a fully automatic assault rifle, multiple of them firing at them aliens didn't kill them, but 350 cal bullets took them down. It's what the fuck is that? Also, the guy on the helicopter shooting down on the train, he deserved to die. That dude sucked. He missed so many shots. There were so many people, and he missed half of his shots. How did you do that?
That stormtrooper aim.
Yeah, apparently so. They just found that dude on the street, and they're like, "You want to kill some aliens, buddy?" He's like, "Yeah, I hate aliens." They're like, "Hell yeah, you're prejudiced against mutants and aliens too. Hop on the chopper."
We were talking about this at an earlier point. I kind of hated how quickly they turned on the mutants. I understand that they would turn, but I thought the one mutant's gone bad. Well, let's burn down everything we've been building for the last couple of years. Like that phone scene where it's well, we can't have this no more. It's have a conversation about how to move forward. I thought that was kind of don't you think you might need the mutants to take down this mutant? What are you thinking? What do you think you're going to do with this one? How are you going to take her down without them? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was crazy how just they just turned
instantly. They was see ya.
They're these mutants are bad, and it's well, it's just one bad apple. And Charles, that's why Braden's saying, Charles is the bad guy or whatever. I'm not saying you said in this movie, but it's Charles is dude, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? I'm doing everything in my power to hold all this together, and y'all are just abandoning me. I need your support. And they're no, fuck you.
Yeah, and literally earlier on in the movie, when that one-on-one interaction with Mystique and Charles, it's Charles is I'm doing this to keep us good in the public eye, so they don't turn against us. We are finally not the enemy, and I'm trying to keep it that way. And you can
Well, he's-
understand that. Like, yeah, I get that completely.
Yeah, it was like Mystique was making fun of him for like shaking babies and signing baby or whatever.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, it's a
Signing
good press.
hands.
It's a good press. You love it, don't you?" And he's like, "Opposed to being on the run? Yeah."
Yeah,
Yeah,
opposed to what they used to call us, you know.
Yeah, no, he's 100% right, and there's nothing wrong with him enjoying the popularity a little bit. Like, I feel like Turtles at this point has earned the ability to kind of sit back a little bit and just kind of like lead the school, lead the team. He doesn't need to be like out in the field all the time. I feel like.
Oh,
I didn't get. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna go back to Apocalypse War.
Okay, go ahead.
Apocalypse. Sorry. Did you like
Keep
how he lost his hair again?
Apocalypse War.
Did you like how he lost his hair again?
Again? Wait? Oh, an Apocalypse.
Yeah, Apocalypse. Yeah. Put Cerebro on and it made all his hair fall out. Or
It's
was
crazy
it?
how
Was it
good he
during the
looks without
transfer?
it.
Yeah, I thought it was during the transfer when Apocalypse
Oh, it
was
was
like.
during the transfer, and I was like, "These sneaky motherfuckers! They really want him bald, don't they?" Like, I don't care if he has hair or not. Like, I think James McAvoy with a bald head looks kind of awkward, but he has a good bald head. So
I think like there was that.
I mean, he has a
moment where,
bald
like,
head and split too, so it's not even the Professor X role.
yeah.
I was like, because like I had never even thought about like, oh, he has hair. He's not the professor yet. But like once he lost it, I was like, I actually think he looks kind of good without it. Like he looks like Professor X now in a cool way. I thought. I was like, oh yeah.
I never think about it like in First Class and Days of Future Past and the beginning of Apocalypse when he has the hair. I'm never like, oh, you know, Professor X with hair. I'm just like, yeah, this is Professor X.
When he's young, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's that same group that yells at everything. It's like, not my Professor X because he has hair. Like, well, find something else to be mad about. Go be mad about that. I don't know. Wolverine has 4 claws instead of 3.
Literally, like when you
know.
just know how people work, like you know, some people lose hair over time. That's just how it goes. Like Professor X having hair at a young age is not like a revolutionary idea or anything. Like, do you really think this guy was bald his entire life?
I mean, maybe he was.
I mean, it's
like,
possible.
Maybe Magneto's mutant powers is he doesn't age and he has like the power of like magnetism, and then Professor X's is that he has like super cool telekinesis powers, but he can't ever grow hair.
Well, it's like
that'd be some shit.
It's like as much as I don't really enjoy Jesse Eisenberg's portrayal of Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman. It never threw me that the guy had hair. Like that's not a concern of mine at all.
Did it throw you whenever he went bald though?
No.
I didn't like it. I was like, ooh, put his hair back on him.
I don't know. It didn't bother me at all. How is Nicholas Hoult going to be bald in Superman Legacy?
I mean, there's already photos of him bald. If you want me to.
Okay, so he is going to be bald. See?
Yeah.
Wow. Way to.
Was that a spoiler? I'm sorry.
Why spoil Super? Did I call it
Yeah.
Superman Legacy? It's just called Superman.
Yeah, they changed
Superman
it.
Legacy was the working title.
I don't think that's a spoiler because James Gunn was like, "Here's the cast," and he's bald in the cast picture. So
maybe he was.
I probably
bald
saw
for
that
other
picture and have already
reasons.
forgotten, so I'll probably forget this
think
conversation as well.
I think he's bald here. Hold on, let me look. See if I can find it.
Watch him not be bald, and Darren's just spreading fake.
I know, I'm
Superman
just
Legacy
wrong.
news.
Is it?
Speaking of Holt, though, I fucking hate this version of Beast so much. I really like, especially in Phoenix. He is, I don't know, he's just not the Beast to me. And like, I get the whole idea is like, oh, he's not Beast yet. He's like this younger version of him that's kind of an asshole. But like, I don't know. He's had 4 movies, and I feel like he's just been the worst human being in all of them.
He sure is annoying.
You know, at
changes
this
sides
point
so
with
quick.
like these X-Men movies and like even the Batman, as much as I love the Batman, I can kind of get people's complaint about like, oh, this is the story before the story. Like, okay, can you just get to the story? I completely get it.
It's I feel like he went like full on bloodlust so quickly. And it's just like, I don't think Beast would ever do
like
that.
after Raven died?
Don't. Yeah, he's like, if I find her, I will kill her. He's like, good. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? She's a 16-year-old girl, man. Like,
and it's like, well, first of all, like, you were there when she died. Like, you could have killed her. Well, you could have attempted to kill her then. I don't think you would have succeeded, but...
Yeah, and we don't get to see their, like, dynamic with Raven enough, where they're at the point where, like, we will kill her killer. And this is like Magneto especially, where it's like, I don't know, like, in another timeline, you were okay just with leaving her on the ground with a bunch of agents or whatever. Like, I feel like we didn't get
that
to
was
see enough
after
of them.
she lost her powers, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like we didn't get enough to warrant those reactions from those characters. Maybe that's just me, though. Okay.
I mean, if anyone were to have that reaction, it should probably be Charles, right? Because in this timeline, he's the one that grew up with her.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. Like, he still wants to be there for Jean. And you get why. Like, he understands that he's not completely Jean. She's being controlled by something else. What were you saying, Andrew?
Oh, I was just going to say, you know how he said he was like, oh yeah, Hank, just berate me about how I'm wrong after my adopted sister just died. And then Hank's like, tell me you're wrong! Tell me you're wrong! He's like,
so...
like, okay, Charles has a point here. Once again, how are you trying to turn me away from Professor X? But I'm just more on his side every time you show me something with him.
Yeah, it was such a dickhead move for Hank to be like, you know, she was trying to do this, and I kept her from doing it. And Professor X was like, "What was that?" He's like, "Well, we should have been opposed to protecting these kids from the world. We should have been protecting them from you." I'm like, okay, whoa, calm down here. Like, I got the whole like making Professor X out to be kind of the pseudo villain in a way, but like that is like crossing the line. Like, no, Professor X did not intentionally put all these kids in danger.
Yeah.
Well, he said multiple times he didn't want warriors; he wanted students.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But it seemed more like in First Class and Days of Future Past, it kind of seemed more like he wanted warriors and not students. But then in Apocalypse, it was kind of the reverse. That's what I'm talking about, his like downward kind of being a douchebag kind of arc.
Well, in Days of Future Past, he doesn't have anyone other than Hank. Hank's the only one with him at the manor.
Yeah.
And I don't think he wanted warriors in First Class. I think he just wanted everyone to be their best. Also, we haven't even mentioned this is back to Apocalypse, but we didn't even mention Havoc's death.
Well, yeah, because it was just kind of it was one of the easily forgettable deaths.
Yeah, it is, because like you get that cool Quicksilver moment, you get the montage of him saving everyone except for Havoc, and it's got the
Then the military
sweet
shows
dreams. Up. Yeah, the Sweet Dreams needle drop, which I always remember.
Yeah,
such a good song.
I would argue that's the most iconic scene out of any of these movies. Like, I feel like people still post that like once a week on Twitter or whatever. It's just like
maybe for the song, maybe that's why people say it, because that song is just so good. But I think just as a sequence, the X-Men Days of Future Past Quicksilver scene is better.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I enjoy it more.
Fair enough. I mean, both are great. I think
they are. I think
both great.
I think it's probably the highlight of Apocalypse.
Yeah. And like Dark Phoenix, like he doesn't really do anything in that movie. Like
he's just
kinda,
like he's in
just
the opening, and like after the opening, it feels like he just kind of fades away into the background. Like
that's most of these characters, actually.
The
like,
funniest moment in Dark Phoenix to me is like after the initial mission, after the Phoenix Force merges with Jean Grey, and he's just talking to all the kids. Yeah, he's like, I did like a lot, and then Jean, she did some towards the end, but it was mostly me.
Yeah, which I feel like fits his character very well. He's just kind of a little shit, pretty much.
Yeah, I love it. I think that might have been the only moment in the movie that got like a genuine like laugh out of me, because I was like, "Oh my god, that's great." Then he just kind of disappears.
I think when Scott Summer like walks up on Magneto and everybody and's like, "Who the?" Or no, wait, what does he say? "The fuck you are," or something like that. I was like, that made me laugh because, like we talked about, it was just so like forced.
Yeah.
They went crazy with the F-bombs, man. They made sure to utilize them.
As much as Darren hated Magneto being in this movie, and I kind of after the initial like Magneto scene, I don't really see much use for him, but like that initial
No.
scene where Jean confronts him and he's just like, "Whose blood is it?" Fassbender is
That
just
was
so
cool.
good in that scene.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought it was really funny when he's just like, I thought like you wanted her dead, and he's like, I changed my mind. I was like,
Change
I feel
of
like
heart.
that's Magneto's. Yeah, like I feel like that's his entire thing in every X-Men movie, where he's like, I'm gonna kill you, Charles. It's like, so you're probably right. I guess we'll team up and take down this guy. Like that's his arc in all of them. I feel.
It basically just shows that he knows he's wrong every single time he has an opinion.
It's just like
He just
Maybe
wants
that's
to
why
get his
X-Men
gun.
First Class is like my favorite X-Men movie because
Yeah,
Magneto,
it's
he's my
good.
favorite character, and that's really the only movie where like his thoughts don't really contradict one another, like you were saying.
Yeah. I will say, and I don't know what it really meant, but I kind of like that you end with just them having like a nice moment, just like within friends. Like they're not fighting; they're just like, let's reconnect, let's try and be friends again. And I think like with that being their last ever scene in this universe, it's kind of nice. I thought.
It really made me think of the X2 scene where Magneto is in prison and Charles like comes to visit him and they just play chess.
Yeah, that's nice.
It really made me think of the X-Men Last Stand scene where at the very end Magneto was moving the chess piece with his mind.
Do we think they wanted to do more of these? Because the way you end with Phoenix, it makes me think like, oh yeah, they wanted to do a couple more and they just like didn't.
I don't know because like
I don't think so.
I don't either because just throughout the movie it felt like it felt like a lot of people didn't want to be there, let's be honest.
Yeah,
true.
It
It felt like
they
a lot of
done.
people were just there due to contractual obligations.
It's just
Fassbender and McAvoy seemed like they were they put in a good showing. Sophie Turner,
I think they are just I think they are just like when it comes to actors, they are just those guys. Like they will show up. If they're getting paid, they're gonna show up. Fassbender and McAvoy are just magnificent. I haven't seen them. I can't tell you a movie I've seen them in where they're bad. I haven't seen the Assassin's Creed movie. I hear that's really boring, and Michael Fassbender is obviously I don't know what assassin is in that movie, but he's the assassin.
Probably Desmond.
Probably Desmond. Is really did they do Desmond and well, I mean, I guess that would make sense because he's the assassin in the first one, but like Ezio is like the most well known.
Well, no, I mean, like, wasn't he the human character too? Wasn't he the assassin and the human character? Because they put somebody in the Animus. Oh fuck! Huh? I don't know.
Oh, Desmond is like the present day character, isn't he?
Yeah, so I think he played both.
Oh,
I think they did.
That would make sense.
Yeah, which is linked to Desmond as well.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen that, so I mean, Fassbender, he's great in everything I've seen him in. McAvoy, great in everything.
What about Shooter?
Shooter, like the movie with Mark Wahlberg?
Wanted. That's what I meant to say.
I haven't seen that.
I like Angelina Jolie. It's Angelina Jolie, and I'm pretty sure James McAvoy.
I will tell you, Michael Fassbender is great in Inglourious Bastards.
Ooh, he is good in Inglourious Bastards.
And Michael Fassbender is great in Split. Glass was
Michael Fassbender.
Or James McAvoy. James McAvoy is great in Split. And as much as Glass was boring, James McAvoy is probably the best part of it. So yeah, there's two actors that show up. Everyone else just kind of felt like they were there though.
I kind of think it's not funny, but like Oscar Isaac has really just been on that Marvel paycheck because he started.
Dude, he has. I was thinking about that too. I was like, okay, he played Apocalypse, and then he comes up like what? He played Moon Knight,
and then he played.
Yeah, he was Spider-Man 2099 in Spider-Verse.
Yep.
Then he plays a character in Star Wars too.
He does. Disney loves this man. It was also funny, like with Moon Knight, you could argue he plays 3 different characters there, so you could say he plays 5 Marvel characters.
Dude, the thing about Moon Knight is I didn't hate Moon Knight, but I thought it was pretty underwhelming because I've always been fascinated with that character, but they don't introduce like the most interesting personality until the end. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? I have to wait until season 2 to see like the part of Moon Knight I've been looking forward to. There better be a season 2 because I'm like, even though I wasn't like, I didn't think season 1 was great. I want to see season 2 because like they they tease me with what I want to see.
Yeah, I didn't like Moon Knight. It's like in my bottom 5 MCU things, I think.
I haven't seen many MCU shows, but it's probably.
I was just
I'd
so
put it above
bored.
Do you have it
Hawkeye.
above or below She-Hulk?
Oh
I
my
put
gosh, it's
everything
like-
above She-Hulk, dude. I dropped She-Hulk after episode 3 because it
Oh,
was
there's
so
like a
fucking
good like
cringe
15
and terrible.
difference.
She-Hulk fucking sucks. I fucking hated that
disagree.
show with a passion.
There's like a good 15 to 20 difference with Moon Knight and She-Hulk on my list, I think.
Dude, no, there's like
Whoa.
if a show is so bad that I drop it, that's like another level of like I just can't watch it. Obviously, like I dropped it.
I
But yeah, no,
disagree.
I watched 3
But-
episodes of She-Hulk and just I think it was episode 3. It's probably episode 3, the Megan Thee Stallion episode where they were like twerking and shit. I'm like, fuck this. I'm not watching the show. This is not
That was
what.
so fucking stupid.
This is not what I watch Marvel for. I don't want to see this shit.
Yeah, but
So,
like,
yeah.
how is that any different from like the Guardians dance battle? You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think there's much of a difference.
Eh,
And like, that's kind of the point of She-Hulk. Like, she's a very goofy character that does stuff like that.
I feel like that dance battle just like it. See, I like Marvel. I like my comic book stuff to be grounded at times, but I don't ever really want it to feel like I don't like it bleeding the real world into its world. Like I want it to be its own thing. So that's kind of what I hated about She-Hulk.
So your problem wasn't the dancing, but Megan Thee Stallion being there.
Basically, yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Well,
Fair enough.
because I'm kind of with him there, but I watched the whole show because I knew Daredevil was showing up.
Yeah.
But my problem is when She-Hulk came out, Meg Thee Stallion was big at that time. So Marvel put her in just to get buzz around the show. And I feel like anytime you do something like that, you don't have faith in a product. If you need a cheap kind of thrill like that, not a thrill, but like, did you hear Meg Thee Stallion's in the latest She-Hulk episode? Oh no. I'm gonna have to look that clip up on YouTube.
Sure.
Or some shit like
and
that.
me, someone not being like a Megan Thee Stallion fan, like I'm not going to be into that.
I've never heard her music, but I didn't have an issue with it either. It's like, okay, it's whatever. They had a
Well, it's like
cameo,
even
whatever.
if they put like I mean I'm a big advocate of Joaquin Phoenix. He's my favorite actor working today. Like
Yeah.
if Joaquin Phoenix were to show up in a Marvel or DC property, it would completely throw me out of the fucking product.
Sure.
Well, it depends on the movie though. Because if you say that though, then you have to have a problem with Deadpool killing Ryan Reynolds.
That's true, but Deadpool is already like inherently a character that breaks the fourth wall, so it just
Well, that's kind of
Well,
what
so is
She-Hulk
She-Hulk.
does. She-Hulk is
She-Hulk
kind of
is
that
too,
same.
though.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true. But
I just don't think you like
she
She-Hulk.
is not
I don't
the
like what
only
they did to
character that is
Daredevil.
aware of Megan Thee Stallion. Like if it were only She-Hulk,
Oh, that's
if it
that's
were
true.
only She-Hulk that could like perceive her, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But she's just a thing throughout
she
the Marvel
is
Cinematic.
established. Yeah, she's established in the
Yeah.
MCU. Also,
Yeah.
did you guys notice the badges on the guys on the Dark Phoenix and Dark Phoenix on the train? They were the mutant containment unit, the MCU.
Wait, what?
The guys on the train, they were called the
In
mutant
Dark Phoenix?
containment. Yeah, they were called the
Oh,
mutant
no, I didn't
containment
notice that.
unit, and it was MCU. I noticed that. I backed it up, and I was like, "Ha, that's funny. I like that."
You know the police department that Gordon is heading in the Dark Knight is the MCU, and it's kind of funny because the MCU wasn't yet a thing then. Like, well, it had just kickstarted because Iron Man and the Dark Knight came out months, maybe the same month. Did they both come out in July?
Yeah, very close.
Iron Man
so.
might have been like June, but yeah, they were a month apart, if anything. So that's always been kind of funny to me.
But yeah, I guess Deadpool did have to travel to a different universe to kill Ryan Reynolds. So I just didn't like what they did with Daredevil and She-Hulk. Made him kind of
May.
look
Iron Man was May.
May.
Oh, okay. So yeah, 2 months apart.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like Daredevil in it.
Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't
I like
stick
his
around
costume.
to. I'm glad I didn't stick around to see Daredevil then.
I mean, Charlie Cox was great, but like, I don't like the way they did him. He was more like goofy and stuff, and not like kind of the darker Daredevil that the Charlie Cox character plays.
So
Or
you know
Charlie
about
Cox
the
plays.
rewrites for Born Again, right, Andrew?
No, that doesn't sound
Oh.
good.
Oh no, it's definitely very good. They're
Yeah,
redoing the whole
Darren, you
thing.
know more than I do. So if
Oh
you
my
want
gosh,
to
no,
inform
like-
him,
No, because basically it was kind of a mess with what they were doing. In the original run of the show, they kill a Foggy and Karen in the first episode. They basically cut every ties to the original show. They didn't have a showrunner. It was like, from the sounds of it, it was an absolute mess. And then they were like, okay, we gotta fix this. So they basically scrapped the whole original show. They started refilming it. They basically have brought back every kind of main actor from the original show to like reprise their role. And now it's like a proper like continuation. It's basically just Daredevil season 4 now, instead of like Daredevil, a new show in the MCU or whatever. And now there's like a proper showrunner. They're making a show Bible. Like they're making like, for the first time on like Disney Plus, actual TV shows and not just these like 6-episode events. So no, it's hopefully it's an absolute win. Like hopefully it's a good thing. Hopefully it'll be better than that original show would have been.
So was
So-
the original idea of calling it Born Again to like literally just do a pseudo reboot of it, like literally Born Again? Like we'll have Charlie Cox back as Matt Murdock, but nothing else is gonna stay.
That
Yeah.
sounds like what it was.
Yeah, it like, I think it was going to be a thing where they were just not going to acknowledge it. They're like, oh yeah, it's kind of canon if you want to think about it this way, but like change so much of like from what my understanding, like he didn't even get into like the Daredevil suit for 5 episodes. It was going to be more of like a lawyer show over like a vigilante show. It sounded very messy, and it sounded like it was originally going to be a lot more lighthearted, similar to She-Hulk, compared to like the very dark, what they did on like Netflix. And now they've said like, oh yeah, we've made it a lot more darker in the same vein as our Daredevil, like the original show. So I have a lot more hope for it now than because just everything they said about it, it was like, oh, that did not sound good. It did not sound like a good show.
Well, it's one of them things. It's like it worked. Why change it?
Yeah.
Why change it? It worked.
Well, and
I feel
they
like
were
that
so
would be
afraid.
jarring too if they did, because like you're already like accustomed to this version of that character, and if you're gonna bring the same actor back as that same character, why would you change it tonally if people were into what you were doing before?
They were so afraid to like not canonize the like Netflix shows for years, and it took until that point, and then be like, fine, let's just do it. Like have Echo be canon to all the Netflix stuff, and now it is all canon, which is amazing. It sucks it took that long for them to do it.
Does Born Again have a release date yet, or is it just
Yeah.
set for like 2025?
March of 25.
March. Okay, I need to get around to watching the original round of Daredevil then.
Yes, I need to start my rewatch soon. I want to do all the like Netflix shows in that.
Good
canon.
luck in
So,
Iron Fist and Luke Cage.
I doubt I'll do all of them, but I'll definitely do Daredevil.
No, that's fair. I mean, Daredevil's the one that's really worth it. I liked
And I
Jessica
might do
Jones.
Punisher too, because the Punisher is just a character that interests me.
Jessica Jones. The first season I saw was really, really good, and I haven't seen anything else of it. But
The other two are meh.
I've heard. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, they're not that great.
Would
One
those
season,
be,
like
would
her
those be
mom
the
shows
top
up or
3 of
something.
like that Netflix verse? Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Punisher.
Yeah,
You could put the Defenders in there because the Defenders isn't the worst.
Yeah, true.
Defenders
I guess Defenders is kind of its own thing because it's like the culmination of everything, right?
You kind of have to see that one because it's basically Daredevil season 3. Like there's a huge part in it. Like if you just jump from season 2 to season 3.
Okay, so is it like Captain America: Civil War? You can like call it Avengers 2.5 in a lot of ways. Is like Defenders kind of Daredevil season 2.5?
Yes, very much.
Yeah,
so,
if you
It's
miss the Defenders, you're gonna be trying to piece some shit together for a
Yeah,
couple
you're like
episodes to figure out
they
what
end
happened.
it in a massive
Okay,
way.
so
where it's like,
before Born Again, I need to see Daredevil season 1, 2, Defender season 1, and Daredevil season 3. That's the order I need to
Yes.
watch.
and like even that show, because like I had watched that show with only having seen Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and honestly, I was kind of okay. Just know that there's other heroes within the show that are just kind of out there doing their own thing, and they kind of explain them enough that you'll be fine. Or it's like, okay, yeah, Jessica Jones and Iron Fist and Luke Cage are other heroes that he's now teaming up with.
And then there's also like Daredevil or Iron Fist's like buddy. I don't know what she is, Colleen Wing. She's just there. She runs around with a samurai sword. She's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like that's pretty much the only people you need to worry about, other than Stick. But you learn about Stick through Daredevil, so it's all it's all good.
He's in like season 1 of Daredevil, isn't he? I remember you talking to me about that character like when we were pretty early high school, and I'm pretty sure that show started in like 2015. So
Yeah, Stick's pretty cool. He's kind of a douchebag, but he's pretty cool.
he trained Daredevil, didn't he? In a lot of ways.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, is there
He trained
anything
him
else
to
we
kill
have
the
to
hand.
say about the hand? So the
I-
foot from the Ninja
I low-key
Turtles is
forgot
like
we were
very
recording.
much inspired from the hand from Marvel, right? I'd assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
The foot from Ninja Turtles is like inspired from the hand from
Oh.
Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're basically the same thing.
The same ooze that blinded Daredevil, or the same toxin that blinded Daredevil, gave the turtles their powers.
Hey, is there anything else we have to say about Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix before we continue these side rants?
I mean, I'm just kind of happy. I feel like we're from this point onward, we're on a goodish strike. Like we got a bunch of fun stuff coming up. I feel like in terms of the rest of these. So,
I would argue they're all fun. Like New Mutants may not be the greatest thing ever, but I remember having pretty fun with it. I remember it being pretty fun.
Yeah, and like I like when I finished the last one, there was almost a sadness I had. Or like, oh, that's the last X-Men movie. Like we still had not had another X-Men movie since 2019. So.
Well, New Mutants, if you want to count that, but yeah, mainline X-Men.
I don't like. I don't think I do count it as an X-Men movie. But yeah,
that's fair enough. All right, Andrew, do you have grading
I like
skills
these
for
movies.
these movies?
Oh no, I forgot, but I'll probably think of something in just a second. I like these movies more than I thought I was gonna like them. So there's that.
Yeah,
I overall did too.
How many Jean Greys would you fight?
Gosh,
Just
not
how
kiss?
many Jean
Greys
Greys would you? No, you're not kissing her this time. You're not kissing anybody.
Do you have to fight them to watch this movie again?
No, you just have to fight her to try to not watch these movies again.
Not watch them.
Yeah, so if you beat her, how many could you take on before she overpowers you and then you're forced to watch them again?
You know, Apocalypse, I probably could only fight one. Like, one's probably gonna get me. I'll rewatch the movie, Gene. Dark Phoenix, I'm gonna say like, I'll say 4. She's pretty powerful, so I can't go through too many.
You're gonna take on 4 Jean Greys.
Okay, Darren, fine, 3.
yeah, that does it.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, oh man, I actually like in previous ones. I think Phoenix is my least favorite out of all these movies.
And I changed my.
I probably wouldn't guarantee me wanting to watch this again. So you know what? I'll fight 50 Jean Greys because I don't want to watch this again.
50.
I mean, think about it. More than likely, with 50 of them, she's gonna kill you, so you don't have to rewatch them. So.
Oh damn.
Yeah, sacrifice myself.
You know, I'm gonna change my my 1 for Apocalypse to just 0 because I couldn't get through a single Jean Grey before I decided to rewatch that movie. Like if I saw Jean Grey, if I was like Bleakly Planet style death battle, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
If I were to step foot on a football field and I saw Jean Grey across the stadium, I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn around and rewatch Apocalypse.
You just give up instantly. No, here's the thing though. You have to watch Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix back to back.
Wait, you have to watch them back to back?
Yeah, no stopping.
So this is all one collective ranking.
Yes.
That's a tough 5 hours.
So Darren, you're sticking with 50, huh?
He's dying. He's dying for the cause.
No, you know what? Give me a chance. She doesn't know what I got up my sleeve, right? I could I pull out my kung fu abilities on her.
Hey,
you know,
I never said that you couldn't develop your own mutant power in this fight. Your mutant power might be like growing your nails long, like Sabretooth or something. But hey, that's something.
Oh, you know, this was the first time I watched Apocalypse in like 7.5 years, and probably the first time I watched Dark Phoenix in 4 years.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them though for the most part, so I'd fight like 3 Jean Greys.
Okay. I'm gonna say I'll fight 4 because like Apocalypse is fine, but I really don't want to sit through the double feature. But
yeah,
I'm not gonna go through 50 fucking Jean Greys to avoid that.
Hey, she don't know what he's got up his sleeve.
That's true.
He's got kung fu moves.
We got 50 Jean Greys from Darren, 4 from Andrew, or did you say 3?
3 from me.
3 for Andrew and 4 for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Darren he really has confidence that he's going to take down the Dark Phoenix.
Well, you know what I have that she doesn't is I got that Snake podcast, and I don't think Jean Grey has that Snake podcast that I got.
That's true. Spit that venom.
Take
out.
that.
Blind.
Isn't Andrew
Jean
your
Grey.
co-host for that same podcast?
Yeah,
man,
I mean,
but
I don't know. I
not very
did
good at
fire him.
snakes.
I did fire him. I'm not. Maybe I'll bring him back though. I don't know.
That's why I wasn't here during the Apocalypse War. Days of Future Past.
You're still heartbroken.
Legal battles. No legal battles. We were tied up in the courts. We had a no contact policy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Darren. So I don't know how I remember this, but of course we gave the Days of Future Past. We gave out of 6 Wolverine claws the ranking. Andrew gave it 10 out of 6 Wolverine claws, so he really loved Days of Future Past.
It's pretty dang good.
Oh man,
What did
that's
I give
so
it?
much.
I don't-
That's so much better than what I come up with. How many Jean Greys are you gonna kiss or fight or something like that?
I like how I would fight way more Jean Greys than I would kiss.
I would kiss about one Jean Grey, and then she would Scott Summers me in X-Men Last Stand.
Well,
Do
I
I
feel
die
like
if
you'll
I kiss
survive
her?
longer just fighting her than like if she kissed you, because like if
Oh,
she
yeah,
kisses
you
you, she's
totally-
just gonna kill you immediately. She's got that poison ivy kiss of death.
You know
Yeah,
what?
she'll totally kill you if you kiss her.
That's not
Maybe
bad
he'll
about
kill
the
her
show,
if you kiss her, so you could just chase her around for a while until she wears down. Maybe that's your mutant ability.
Darren's gonna go through those 50 Jean Greys until he can't go anymore, and then he's just gonna give up and kiss her. That's how he's gonna
Yeah,
go
just
out.
like, man, fuck this shit. I'm over this. Come here. Just start chasing her around.
Wait, which one are we talking about? Because if it's the one from this movie, I'm not kissing her. I'm not dealing with those legal troubles.
Sure, you can fight the other one.
Okay, cool.
That is the one that killed people. Or killed people with a kiss, so.
That is true.
Oh man.
Man, if it's the Jean Grey from the other X-Men movie, though, I would take on about 130 million of them. Because she's pretty shitty. She just got killed by Wolverine.
Is it just redheads that kill you with a kiss? Jean Grey, Poison
Yeah.
Ivy?
Poison
It
Ivy.
is. They got evil in their souls, man.
Oh, by the way, she ages really bad in just a couple of years in between the two movies.
Damn. He's going
Oh,
to town
yeah.
on Sophie Turner. She sucks.
No, I mean, like from the first actor to the second
Oh.
actor. Like, isn't there only a
Oh.
couple years in between
Yes.
or whatever?
Yeah, she
Well, they're
ages like
separate
almost
timelines, aren't they?
30 Yeah, but
guess.
still, if they weren't, then that's like 30-something years of it. She goes from being a teenager to being like a worn-down mom of 2.
Yeah, isn't that like 10 years or something? Like, it's not a very long time.
Well,
Uh,
is there anything else we have to say about
No.
either of these movies?
I'm done.
Well, that's been it. You can find this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts. At the Red Arrow on YouTube, you can find some other DC or Marvel stuff there. Just film reviews, film stuff in general. Darren, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I do the Pipeline podcast every Thursday live. This week we're talking about Inside Out 2. So
I
check
just
me out
seen that.
there.
Oh my god, I'm the only one in this chat that hasn't seen that movie.
It's so good. It's
Anxiety's a real son of a bitch, let me tell you.
so good.
Seconded.
No, like literally, they do anxiety perfect in that movie. I feel
It's
like,
so good.
yeah,
So there are different emotions that weren't in the first one, then.
yeah, anxiety, envy, disgust, envy, embarrassment, and what was the French one?
Oui, whatever it is. I mean,
What do you think?
I don't know.
Here's. I'm sure you'll get your podcast out before Braden uploads this. But
Yeah.
what do you think Riley's big dark secret was?
Oh, someone didn't stay until the end credit scene.
No, I didn't.
They
Was there an
reveal
end credit
it.
scene?
Yep, they reveal it.
Oh shit! I got out of there. There were screaming children in the theater, and I was
That's
like, "All
fair.
right, I'm out."
I mean, it's like a joke bit at the end, so it's not
Oh.
like super important.
It was Disney, so I was like, "I bet she's gay." That was just my go-to. That was like my go-to. I was like, "I bet she's gay. I bet that's her secret." And then they just kept leaning into like her perfect boyfriend and stuff. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
"This theory doesn't add up too well."
No, I mean, when that trailer came out, everyone was like, she's gay. Oh my god, I can't believe the woke agenda. And just like, actually, no, she just thought she was super cool. Like, it's actually not a thing. I guess I'm talking spoilers now. I'm so sorry. Are we still going? Are we still like...
Braden, cut that out.
We are.
Are we still recording,
going.
Greg?
Well, hey, next time...
I know
we cut all that out.
Well, next time we'll be back with some Logan talk. Maybe a better X-Men movie. But yeah, we'll be back with Logan.
Bye.
Yeah, that's been it. That's so random.